The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus took Peter, James, and his brother John and led them up on a high mountain by themselves. He was transfigured before them. His face shone like the sun, and his clothes became white as light. And behold, Moses and Elijah appeared to them, conversing with them. And then Peter said to them in reply, Lord, it's good for us that we are here. If you wish, I will make 3 tents here, one for you, one for Moses, and one for Elijah. And while he was still speaking, behold, a bright cloud cast a shadow over them. And then from the cloud came a voice that said, This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased. Listen to him. When the disciples heard this, they fell prostrate and were very much afraid. But Jesus came and touched them, saying, Rise and do not be afraid. And when the disciples raised their eyes, they saw no one else but Jesus alone. As they were coming down from the mountain, Jesus charged them, Do not tell this vision to anyone until the Son of Man has been raised from the dead. The Gospel of the Lord. A couple of weeks ago, my spiritual director said something that really struck me. He says, well, you're getting old. He's 10 years older than me, so I mean, don't worry about this. I hope he checks out before I do, and I hope that's a while from now. But he said, do you notice how the temptations in your life change? And he says it's true that for priests and for very religious people, the temptation that comes later in life is the temptation to not believe anymore. It's to question that belief. You know, when you're young, temptation coalesces around the 3 things we read about all the time: the world, the flesh, the devil. The world, money, success, pleasure, go running off after all those things. It's not really worried about the deeper meanings. The flesh, sex, overeating, overdrinking. The devil, all the other things we do to other people. We're always being tempted to protect ourselves, to be selfish. But with age, what comes is temptation against faith, especially those who spent their life as a minister of the faith or as somebody who believed and went to church all the time. But that kind of darkness, that kind of thing, it happened to the saints. So I mean, I don't think anybody that gets that idea that that's the temptation today, that maybe you don't believe or maybe you don't feel God. That happened to St. Teresa of Avila. That happened to Mother Teresa of Calcutta. For years they walked around. Toward the end of their lives, we're saying, where's God? Where's the God that I knew as a youth? Now, it's not that the old temptations disappear. I promise you that. They're still around. But they're not as insistent. They're not taking the attention. You know, they're not always clamoring after you. Now the temptation is to look back and say, well, was all I did worth it? And where's the God I knew as a young man or a young woman? And that brings us then to the mountaintop experience here, the Transfiguration. Why did he do that? Some say it was to strengthen the apostles so they would be prepared to go through the scourging of his death. Others say it was to give them a glimpse of his glory in the midst of their struggles. But then why wouldn't he have told it to everybody? Why just to a few? And another question that pops up is, well, what would have happened if they had gone around saying, well, Jesus, the preacher here, he was talking to Moses and Elijah. They came back to talk to him. Talk about false news. You know, people would start talking about that, and that would be consternation. Everybody would say, what in heaven's name's going on? It would be a distraction from what Jesus was doing. And I think that's why Jesus said, don't tell anybody. The deeper meaning, I think, though, is to demonstrate his role, the role of Jesus, who Jesus really is, as the connecting point between heaven and earth. He's the only one that can join the old and the new, and that the representation there of having Moses and Elijah. Moses represents the patriarchs, the leaders of the faith. Elijah represents the prophets. The voice of God is heard. This is my son. Listen to him. And that says who Jesus really is. He's not just an ordinary guy. He's not just a mortal raised to another position. This is my son, God says. Listen to him. The only other time we have, this is called a theophany, by the way. That's a big Greek word. Theophany. And that means an appearance of God. The other time it happened in Jesus' life is when he was being baptized. Remember that? What do you hear? It's along the same lines. This is my beloved son. But this time there's another word added. Listen to him. Get it through your heads. This is who Jesus is really all about on this holy mountain. Now, we all have mountaintop experiences in our lives. Lots of times it's on a retreat, maybe in time of praying, the chapel, the Adoration Chapel over at the historic chapel. It's a time when you're kind of alone with the Lord. Maybe you're out for a walk or something. This can get you anywhere. Where you really get it. You really pick it up. And you really know who God is. And you have this experience, this deep experience of Jesus in your hearts. It can happen in very humdrum ways too. I want to emphasize that. It's not just a time when you go away searching for an experience. Sometimes it can just hit you. And I was thinking, I have an example of that would hit me right away. It was something that happened to me when I was in probably 3rd or 4th grade. My mom and dad took us to a place in Wisconsin called Holy Hill. Did you watch the golf tournament a couple of weeks ago at Erin? You didn't? It was a beautiful part of her. And in the background, as they're taking these pictures of this grand, beautiful, gorgeous golf course, there's this mountain, Wisconsin, a hill. And on top of this hill is this big church. Holy Hill, we called it. And as kids, we would go there on pilgrimage every first Sunday of the school year. Mom and Dad would bundle us into the car, and we'd drive out to Holy Hill. We'd do the Stations of the Cross, walking up the hill, and then we'd pray in front of this statue of Blessed Virgin Mary, Mary, help of Christians. And it was good. It was nice. That's not when I had the experience. It was on the way home. I can remember sitting in the back seat of a 39 Plymouth. Okay, this would have made it about 47, 48, because we couldn't afford cars, we were poor. And so we had this old car. And I remember sitting in the back door looking out the window, and it just struck me how much God loved me. Right there, right in the car. So you don't have to go through a big deal to get this, you know. If the Lord gives it to you, you get it. That's a mountaintop experience. That's like the transfiguration. Now the transfiguration should be for all of us a sign of the little things that we have happen in our lives, of our little theophanies when God speaks to us. The transfiguration was certainly one of the apostles' favorites. It shows up in more than one of the Gospels. But there are two practices, I think, in the church that really kind of cement this for us and say we really ought to pay attention to this. The first are St. John Paul II's luminous mysteries of the Rosary. Been saying it lately? Oh, I know we all got the joyful, sorrowful, and glorious mysteries, right? 5 each. You know those, right? I know you do. But the luminous mysteries came in a while back. John Paul put it in. They were really very good. The baptism of Jesus, the wedding in Cana, Jesus' proclamation of the kingdom, the transfiguration, and the institution of Eucharist. He put that mystery in those luminous mysteries for a reason. And that was to keep in front of us whenever we wonder, whenever we doubt, whenever we are curious about it, whenever we wonder where God was, we say, but wait, we see it here. He appeared to them. He revealed himself to them. He is the Son of God. And that's where I cast my lot, with him. In the second place, we find it is in the preface of the Mass. It's that thing I sing right before the Holy, Holy, Holies. And I found a freer translation than the one that I'm going to sing, but it said this way: because the Lord, Christ, having announced his death to his disciples, reveals his glory at the sacred mount, and then, having the law and the prophets as witnesses, he makes them understand his passion is necessary to reach the glory of the resurrection. As we meditate on that, we think on that, we know what is awaiting us. And that's another part there that we really ought to pray about. What happened to him happens to us. We get brought into that eternal kingdom of the Lord. And that's the lesson we Christians should never forget. Especially us older guys. It's talking to us now. You know, if you ever get that doubt, that lingering doubt, that thing that comes through, remember the transfiguration, where Jesus was shown for who he really is. Amen.
Amen.